Hi friends, welcome back to the Bible in 5 minutes. Today we're diving into the beautiful and powerful story of Ruth, a tale of loyalty, redemption, and God's unseen hand at work. Let's explore how this short book speaks volumes about faithfulness, love, and divine purpose. Okay, let's dive into it. First, some background. The Book of Ruth is only 4 chapters long and takes place during the time of the Judges, a period of moral decline in Israel. Picture this. There's this woman named Naomi. Now, Naomi, along with her husband and 2 sons, decide to move to Moab. Why, you ask? Well, because of a famine in Israel. They hope things will be better over in Moab. Sadly, though, Naomi's husband passes away soon after they arrive. And tragically, both of her sons die, leaving Naomi with her 2 daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, heartbroken and all alone. Naomi decides to return to her hometown of Bethlehem. So she tells Orpah and Ruth, "Go back to your family. May God end up being against me and utterly reject me if the 2 of you don't actually return home." But Orpah listens to Naomi, while Ruth clings to her. She says, "Don't ask me to leave you or to turn back from following you. Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16. This moment shows Ruth's deep loyalty, not just to Naomi, but also to God. So Ruth, a Moabite outsider, follows Naomi back to Bethlehem. Now, when they arrive in Bethlehem, Naomi tells Ruth, "My daughter, stay here with your mother-in-law. Go out into the fields and gather whatever grain she has left after the harvesters have finished their work. That's what you shall eat." So Ruth sets out to work in the fields. Guess where she ends up? In the field of Boaz, a kind and wealthy relative of Naomi's late husband. What's really amazing is that Boaz owns the very field that Ruth and her sister-in-law Orpah had been working on before. You know, the one that Naomi told Ruth to go back to. Yeah, that one. So Ruth does her best to gather the leftover grain. Soon, Boaz notices Ruth, not just because she's a hard worker, but because of her character and loyalty. He calls his workers over and tells them to allow Ruth to gather grain. Even more, he instructs them to drop grain on purpose so that she can gather it. And when evening comes, he invites her and her party back to his threshing floor to gather the leftover grain. Boaz treats Ruth with kindness and respect. He gives her food, water, and everything she needs. At the end of the day, Ruth gathers quite a bit of grain, enough to sustain her and Naomi. Now, a few days later, Ruth goes back to Boaz's field to glean. And you guessed it, Boaz is there. He asks her, "Why are you here today?" And Ruth tells him. And then he says something incredible. "You are a woman of noble character, and it is certain that you have treated your mother-in-law with far more kindness than your own people have shown you. I, for one, want to show you special favor. Don't go out to work in the fields anymore. Stay here. My workers will harvest the grain you need, and you can eat and drink whatever you want. Boaz tells Ruth to wait for him in town. He then goes to the city gate where elders are gathered and tells them about Ruth, this Moabite woman who is a hard worker and a person of integrity. Then he says, I want to become her kinsman redeemer. Is there anyone here who has a stronger claim to redeem her? Since no one speaks up, Boaz proceeds to buy the right to redeem Ruth. This means he now has the right to marry her, and they do. Soon, they have a son together named Obed. And guess what? Obed becomes the grandfather of King David and a direct ancestor of Jesus Christ. Let's think bigger. Ruth, a foreigner and widow, finds favor with God. She becomes an integral part of Israel's history, specifically the lineage of David and ultimately Jesus. This small story shows how God can use unlikely people for extraordinary purposes. It's a reminder that your background doesn't disqualify you. Your faith does the qualifying. Are you feeling like an outsider or in a season of loss like Ruth? Don't give up. Remain faithful. Trust God, because you never know how your story is being woven into something much greater. Well, there you have it. That's the amazing story of Ruth. I hope this encouraged you and maybe even brought you closer to God. Remember, no matter where you come from or what you've been through, God has a plan for your life. And sometimes that plan involves people and circumstances that you might not expect. But with faith and trust in God, you can navigate those situations and come out stronger on the other side, just like Ruth did. So keep holding on to God's promises. Keep trusting in His perfect timing. And remember, you are an important part of God's story. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the Bible. Until next time, may God bless you and keep you. Hey, if this video spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message.